Thanks guys for coming. My name is Alex. I've been a software developer for like over 20 years, and last maybe 10 years or so I was contracting, moving from organization to organization, from team to team. And I saw like every team everywhere struggles to achieve the highest performance, struggles to get together and really go for the common outcomes. And it happens everywhere. And people use different approaches, different methods, different techniques, from my experience. And I got very interested in this area, and I'm now going into like more management track and leading teams for the last maybe 3 years. And what I'm thinking is the problem is actually in approach. And I think we use just wrong language. When we talk about team, we talk about building team. We talk about like well-oiled machine, improving performance. It's all like mechanical approach, like mechanical thinking. But I think team, you should approach like organic thing. It's organic. You need to grow it. Don't build it, don't fix it, but grow. And if you start from this mindset, it's just a kind of little switch, but everything else becomes kind of different. Your approach will become different. So when we talk about like machines and building machines, right? You need to really have some sort of IQ level, right? You can't, like 6-year-old cannot do it. You need to understand things. You need to go through education process. You need to learn a lot. You go like your TAFE, uni, to be mechanic, So you need to design everything, and everything should be perfect and precise. All the parts. You design the perfect parts. You put them together. You tune them. That's the approach for mechanics. And when people use the same approach, they go, okay, we need to put the perfect team together. We need to specific sets of people, specific sets of skills. You work on your selection criteria, right? Your job descriptions, right? Job descriptions, and you try to fine tune what sort of people we need to put together, right? That's the approach from mechanics. And then you go, okay, we have these people, we need to fine-tune the performance. You use your metrics, your OKRs, your goals, because you want to see how team performs, tweak something, you measure again, and like people saying, okay, you cannot manage what you cannot measure. Right? That's the type of approach coming from mechanical engineering. When we do growing things, right, nothing is as precise anymore, right? So what grower does, he creates environment. He provides nutrients like water, sunshine, whatever plants need, but plants grow on their own. So farmer is not going and pulling all the plants to grow faster, right? So that's a different approach, and nothing is quite as precise anymore. Another analogy I use, I like it. People say productivity is like hot air balloon. It raises on its own. You just need to remove obstacles. Same kind of approach, right? Team grows, but you need to provide whatever your team needs as a gardener type of thing. Now people say, yeah, it's all good kind of, on conceptual level. How do I actually improve performance? And it's not actually a complicated problem. It's not complicated. Complicated things, they're hard to explain, hard comparing to simple things, which are easy to explain, easy to understand, right? And let's say any 6-year-old can understand simple thing, but like we said, you need to have IQ and education to understand complicated things. This problem is not complicated, but it's complex. So complex things, they're just not possible to explain. Nobody can understand complex things. They're too complex, right? It's complicated. It's hard to understand. Complex is just not possible. And nobody knows how they work, but they do work. It's like weather. Weather is complex. We can't really predict exact weather like 10 days ahead. Just too many variables for us to predict. Another thing about complex things, when you measure them, quite often you affect them. You can't really measure them. Like if you know about mechanics, they can't really measure stuff. They say the fact of measuring changes the thing. When you start measuring your team will adjust, and it will change. And the fact of measuring will change your dynamics. Just a little experiment. Can you raise your hand? Just raise your hand. Thank you. It wasn't hard, right? Can you keep your hand up if you can explain how did you do that? How did you raise your hand? Can you explain it? How did you do it? It's not hard, right? It's easy, but it's not possible to explain. That's a complex thing, right? And you do it, it's fine. And you're sitting here like listening to me, you're beating your heart, you're growing your hair. And, well, yeah, somewhat. Even in your sleep you can do it. Very complex thing, easy to do, not a problem. Like any 6-year-old can do it. But thing is, you can't explain it, but some people can explain, like scientists. They say, "Oh, I know how people grow hair." Okay, cool. Does it help him to grow hair better than anyone else? That knowledge doesn't even help. How do you deal with complex problems? The way you learn to ride a bike. You just get on the bike and go for it. You don't study. You don't watch tutorials. You don't go to uni. Nothing helps, because this is complex activity. You can't just learn it by books or some lectures. You just go for it. You try and you fail and skin your knees and you take your risks. And eventually you get better over time. And that's all kids do. They learn like that. And you just get better with practice. And that's pretty much it. That's the idea I wanted to talk about. That is kind of fundamental. If you change that approach, okay, your team is complex organism. You need to grow it. Don't try to build it. Try to grow it. Approach with try, go for it, see what works, what doesn't. But usually it's like people say, no, not good enough. Give us something else, right? But on this base, you can build and use frameworks and tools, like different tools. But like what they say, all frameworks, they're all wrong. But some are useful. So whatever framework you use, you understand it's wrong, but you can find something useful and get value out of it. I'll just show you examples. This is a really good book. And I think if you lead a team or you want to motivate people and work with people, kind of must read. And what he says is just these 3 things you need to provide to people, like that gardener provides environment. You need to give your people autonomy. Actually, it's just sense of autonomy, right? People need to feel that they have autonomy. So what it means, just don't tell them what to do. People know what to do. Like when you give them vision, you explain people what you want to achieve, they know what to do exactly better. And if you give them autonomy, people usually enjoy doing what they want to do, right? And instead of kind of going for compliance, when you force people, you get your engagement. When you set the objective and you allow people to do the best they can to achieve that objective, and people usually find it very enjoyable. Mastery, another one. Everyone wants to learn. Everyone loves learning. Like all the kids, they love learning. Like riding bicycle, it's a very hard thing to do. Like even walking, like you look at toddler, they walk and they fall so much, they hurt themselves and cry and still keep learning, keep walking, keep trying to do it. Like it's in us. We all want to get better in something. And when you get this feeling that you're improving, it's really gratifying. And with autonomy, when you can do what you want, and with mastery, where you can improve all the time, people want to contribute, they want to work. But the purpose is pretty much, it's working for something better, bigger than yourself. It's not just I'm working for myself. we are together as a team, our common objective, purpose. We're trying to change something, and it's, again, people find it's very gratifying. And so your kind of role, your goal as a leader is just provide all these things, provide this environment, give people these things, they're going to give you performance. In software development, this agile, everyone talks about agile, and it's been like 20 years since agile started in software development. Now it goes beyond, and just organization beyond software development, they start talking about agile. And if you Google modern agile, you find these principles. They kind of beyond just software, but they relate again, just different approach, different words. So make people awesome. Principle. Your people, they're all awesome. They all want to do good. They want to do the best job they can. Just make them awesome. Like give them autonomy. And that's how you achieve your performance through these things. So deliver value continuously. Again, if people working somewhere for like long time, never delivering anything, it's not motivating. Nobody wants to do it. People wants to see how they deliver value and see the feedback from clients, customers when they do something good for community, for people. That it has to be like continuously. That's the agile principle. We do it continuously, like every week, every day. You do something little. It may be small, but you actually go to your customer, deliver value. Safety, like you said, when you ride the bike, teach people to ride. You push them, but you give them helmet, and you create this safe environment. Why you need safe environment is mostly so people don't afraid to try things and experiment. When you're learning and you're trying things, you fail quite a lot, and people shouldn't be afraid of failing. That's safe environment, and there should be, when you give them autonomy and they say, oh, I don't want to, mess up anything. I don't want to touch anything. Yeah, that safe environment allows people to actually do stuff and experiment. Everything should be experiment. It just experiment, like especially in startup world or anywhere. You start with hypothesis, and you think how you can prove it. You try it, you see if it works or not. Next hypothesis, next proof, and you go in cycles, and you get feedback from your experiments, and you learn. So every organization should be learning organization, really. Learning should be your goal. Like instead of saying, okay, we want to build this product, you need to say, we want to learn how to build. And what's the outcome of learning? It's going to be exactly the same. You're going to end up with the product. But now you can't really fail. You can't fail at learning. If you say, okay, we want to learn how to build this product, and by the way of learning, so it doesn't really actually make sense, which is absolutely fine. That's the outcome of learning. There's no failure here. You can't really fail. So go for learning, experiment, allow people to experiment, but still deliver value, some value continuously. And just remember people awesome. And this one is a really good one. Again, it's not new idea. Traditionally, what we call a command and control environment, people kind of, your team serves to a leader, right? Leader makes a decision and team executes. What they talk about is your team delivers value, team does all the work, and leader should just serve team to make team do the best job they can. Yeah, again, if you Google some materials and websites and stuff, and they talk about these principles, be a good listener. It's quite hard. But you need to really listen to your people. And usually what happens, people in leadership, they would have more experience. Let's say if junior people on the team, still you can learn from anyone, like students or junior guys. But you need to stop yourself from telling them what to do. When they come to you with the problem, and usually you know the solution, you go, just do that. You need to stop yourself and say, okay, how do you think you would approach this? And he would tell you something this, what about that? You ask questions, you try to, and in the end, no, like this guy wants to stick to his plan. Just give them autonomy. Say, okay, I create a safe environment for you. I know you're going to fail, but that's your plan. I know you're going to go for it with much more enthusiasm than if I tell you to do something different. And then people go through this, and you create a safe environment. They learn. You get much better person, much more engaged, and your opinion is very dangerous. This HIPPO, highest paid person opinion. HIPPOs, they're very dangerous because if you tell people to do something, they're going to do it, even if it causes your business to collapse. They're going to deliver on your task because it's quite important for people what you say. So empathy, obviously you need to understand people. Like we said, people awesome, everyone wants to do good. Awesome, everyone wants to do good, but sometimes some people, they don't perform well. You need to understand what's happening. There's some problem with this person. There's something wrong, and by having empathy, you can understand what's happening, why person is not performing as he actually wants, as he can. Heal. Again, like this even relates to, you don't fix people. You don't fix stuff. You heal them. Like. Go for this approach. To be aware, like sometimes people say, oh, don't bring me a problem, bring me a solution type of approach, right, from leadership. Like you need to be aware of what's happening. You need to know about all these problems. You want to know about problems. And to be aware is like you need to be aware of what's happening inside you, like you as a leader, how you perform, about your people, what they feel, what they do, like how they feel. Like you need to be aware about the environment your team is working, right? So it's different levels of awareness you need to be thinking about. And again, don't tell people what to do. Don't force them, but you still can persuade. Right? You're going to get much better effect, and you can learn these skills. There are books and training materials. You can learn how to persuade people to do exactly what you want without being forceful. Vision is very important. In our vision, I think you really need to go for vision instead of goals. And the difference with goals should be smart, right? Like small, measurable, achievable. Vision is never achievable. It's out there on the horizon. That's your like guiding star. Guiding star. It just tells you where you're going, right? But you can't achieve that vision. But the thing about vision, it shouldn't be just written on your wall, right? People should use it to make decisions. Because if you give people autonomy, you give them vision where you're going, what you want to achieve, and then every time they see the problem, they need to make a decision. We're going this way or that way. What's our vision? Oh, we should go that way. So they need to use it to make a decision on the spot for every decision. That's why vision is important. And still, foresight is important. You can't really plan, right? You can't predict the future. But you need to be able to foresee, kind of, And I like that Jocko Willing, podcast and books. He's a military commander, and what he look through the weapons on the target, right? They focused on the target. They look down and in, kind of. They deep in the problem. They're really focused. So leaders should be at the back, looking up and out, right? Because your people, they're really focused on small, minute problems. They're really down and in. You need to provide that foresight, bigger picture view to your team so they know what's happening around, where we're going, all these type of things. Stewardship is really about accountability. As a leader, you're accountable for everything and anything, what happens with your team, with your people. When you take this accountability, it's going to be example for your people as well. They're going to go for accountability as well, and that's the stewardship. Commit. Nobody likes uncertainty, like when something, not quite clear. People like what they call strong leader or something, right? We like what they call strong leader or something, right? We commit, we go for it. It's fine to to discuss and to make a decision to have some uncertainty what we're gonna do. But when you make a decision, you commit, you go for it. You go for it, but then you observe what's happening and you learn on the way, and that's fine to change your decision, right? You change your direction. But again, you make a decision to change, and you commit. And you show that commitment to people, and people will believe in you and trust you. Don't do like paralysis by analysis, right? Just analyzing to the depth of the problem. Just make your best guess and go for it. And building community, that's what we want, like people together, all happy and contributing, helping each other. That type of environment is the best. I think this is the bonus kind of slide. When we build a high-performance machine, how would we measure it? We talk about RPMs, right? How fast the engine spins, right? We talk about horsepower. What's the output? How many horsepower, right? And we go, okay, 1,000 horsepower. It's a lot of output. That's high-performance engine. But when that engine, the car, spins the wheel or goes in circles, it produces a lot of output, doesn't achieve any outcomes. An outcome is getting from A to B. That's what you want from the car. Right? So you go for outcome to get from A to B, but you don't really want to, waste a lot of those horsepowers. You don't because gas, you don't burn your fuel. So you want to minimize output, maximize outcome. And what it means for your team, don't go for a lot of work. You want to minimize work, like these to-do lists and checklists, all this stuff. You don't want people keep working on them. You want to achieve most outcomes for less work produced. In software development, what we say, best software developers write less code. Because writing code is output. We don't want code. We want outcome. We want value to customer. I think it's good enough for today. Please connect and send me questions if you have, or if you want to, have a chat, go for it.
With that question? Yeah, sure. So, first of all,
thanks, guys. Thanks.